All right, so here we are today with a supplemental upload. This isn't a normal, regularly scheduled daily upload. This is a supplemental upload. So there's going to be 2 videos today because I'm re-recording this one. I already uploaded this, I think, on the 2nd of this month. But oh my god, I've went back and rewatched it, and I just cannot take myself seriously. And I really am passionate about this idea, and so I want to present it in a way that I can actually show to people without cringing intensely. So, so game mode dreams, ultra tactical, the most intense possible AIC game mode, but way less intense this time. Because you can go watch the first video. It's still up. It has dramatic music, and I speak very intensely for the entire thing, and it just sounds like a joke. So here is that content, but represented in a more sincere manner. So essentially, Ultra Tactical is a coalescent game mode. It's all of the things that are hard or complex at AIC. You just increase the complexity to the highest degree physically possible. So what I essentially envision it as is sets of teams. So like groups of, so sort of like traveling soccer teams where you can train and have practice like independently, and then you go to matches where you actually do stuff. But at your practices, you get good at doing everything. There's a standard rule set that comes out, and then your whole team makes armor, creates weapons, like trains their fighting skills, gets really good at group cohesion and strategy and stuff. They'll spec really hard into like class types. So if somebody wants to be a mage, they'll get really good at like synergy with that mage and like making sure that all of the effects that mage does are backed up by their teammates and then used by their teammates when they actually get off. Or like archers, like max utilization for archers. So getting really good at getting arrows back to people, and just all of the most like most efficient, most effective, best possible like utilization of everything. And that would include like new magic rules and different like castles and siege weapon rules, just to make things really crazy. So way more buffs and stuff, so the mage can support their team passively while they're just there, or I guess actively. But and so it's in the best interest of the opposing team to try to selectively target the mage to disable their buffs, or the other mages can cast debuffs on the other team, and so it's even more of a good thing for the mage to get selectively targeted, and just like way more complex like long-term rituals. Like I think I talked about in the magic video that'll come out, I'm not sure when, but just there's so many other cool things you can do with mages at AIC, and the fact that they only really get to fight independently with fireballs is such a drag. There's so much cool ritual magic and like area of effect like meteors that they could use, and they just can't because it's too complex. People don't want to listen to the rules for that, and then people aren't willing to follow the rules for that out in the trail. But if it's a very contained game, then you can follow really complex rules, and then there's a lot of people to hold you accountable to those rules, and so that's really the only way that those rules can exist. What I mean by most intense timing, I didn't really explain this in the other video. I would probably try to figure out some timing that would give the teams enough time to rest, but pretty much mean that they're going to always have to be really aggressive. So the timing is set up so that there is no time to be passive. You always have to be aggressive for something or the game's over. So like, well, I guess I'll just explain it in the next video. So my actual vision for the game mode, essentially it's a 2-castle capture the flag. So there's flags in both castles, and there's a whole setup with gates, and there might be teams different, might have siege weapons depending on what they bring that day. But everybody's in near full armor. Like everyone who isn't in full armor is a mage or an archer. Like everyone has maxed out gear, maxed out set, and they're all really good because they've trained together independently for a really long period of time. Or they're just in the business for like 10 plus years like I am. And so these same teams would then compete across multiple events. They might have alternates on the actual team, but that one team would be scheduled to fight one other team, and so they both get together at some place we'd build castles for them before the start of the thing, and then we'd have them set up, scope out the field, and then fight for a certain amount of time. And I think the timing that I would we would test a lot of different. There are a lot of different things we could test out on this, like dagger rules. I'm not really a fan of. I think we should invent some better rules for daggers, but I can't really think of anything. I did a lot of thinking over the summer and just nothing or over the school year, nothing happened of it. So I'd love to be able to test really advanced, specific combat system rules. And this would be a great place to do that. So one of the timings I'd like to test would be the same timings that they use in mixed martial arts fights. They do 5-minute rounds. So it's 25 minutes of play, but between each one of the rounds, there's a minute rest time. And so you pretty much have to completely be running and sweating for every single second you're in play, because you get 300 seconds per round. Like, you got to be going really, really, really fast all the time. And even when you're exhausted in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds, like, you still got to be going. And so in mixed martial arts, obviously, you either make it to the end and then there's a mixed decision, or one person wins early on if they can submit the opponent or knock out the opponent. In this game, if you captured like all 3 or all 5 of your opponent's flags, that would be equivalent to a knockout in a boxing match. Like, that would be how you win before the time is up. But if you have more flags than them at the end of the game, which would be extremely contentious, then you would also win, because you would also have more points than they did. I talked about this in the everything up to the max slide, but everyone would have to come with prefabricated weapons armor. There would be practically no time to make set. Everything would have to be pretty much invented on the day. Like, you wouldn't have time to build anything. You would get there, scope out your castle, place your flags, and then start fighting. Like, that's how it would go. And then you'd play like a couple matches. Maybe you might play like, you do your first match in the morning, like maybe go away for a bit, eat lunch or something, and then like rediscuss strategy, and then have another 2 matches or something like that. So it'd be probably just a 1-day short event, or maybe just a morning event. Maybe it would just be like 3 hours in the morning that we get together for, like, have a couple really intense clashes. We'd record tons and tons and tons of footage for it. I have some friends who are willing to bring like DXLR cameras, like nice cameras, and we'd have them as walking cameramen to just capture everything. We put GoPros on like 3 or 4 of the different guys, just so we could get as much secondary content as possible. And then I edited it all together into one really intense video from like a ton of different POVs. I just think it could be like the most fun possible event to ever exist at AIC, if it could happen. Especially if you could have 4 other really close friends who are also really, really, really good at the game, who the lot of you combined were just unspeakably intense at the game. I think it would just be like, no more fun could be had possibly. So yeah, I've talked about a game mode like this in the past. We've talked about Dominion League. Dominion is the game that is played at regular tactical game, but the issue with Dominion is that it takes kind of a long time and it's pretty advanced. And so it would really take like a week for 2 teams to like actually have a full-fledged game of Dominion. But also with longer time scales, we get more intense things. Like some of the stuff we've talked about, I've talked like directly with Julian, the owner of the camp, about, are like climbing walls on castles, or like large wheeled siege weapons that would be like multiple stories tall. So you could roll up to a 2-story castle and board on the 2nd story. Really more solid castle gates and doors so that you could actually use them as gates or doors. And then literally destructible walls, like walls made out of cardboard boxes, like bricks. And then if you detonated an explosive, the defenders could like literally unsettle all of the bricks and like completely destroy, make a literal hole in the castle without like cutting through it or punching through it or anything. That would just be ripping cardboard like that. Dominion League would be really, really cool. And especially because it could be made up with adults who are patient enough to listen to really complex magical rule sets or really complex game rule sets. I think Ultra Tactical and Dominion League are slightly different things, because Ultra Tactical would literally be extremely short rounds. They'd be 25-minute rounds, pretty much, or 28 or 29, whatever. Dominion League sounds like it's going to be like a full day, couple day long event, and that would be a lot larger of a time commitment. Of course, the training for Ultra Tactical and the building of all the stuff would also be a massive time commitment. But I just think the really intense rounds that I could record footage of and then edit into a video would be so cool. So, yeah. Could this ever be a reality? I totally think it could be. But essentially, we need people who are interested. And that's why I'll do my best to share this video around now that it's a little bit more serious. But the biggest question mark is essentially the viability of competitive AIC, because Adventures in Cardboard in its current state is a slightly competitive, but like only the amount of competitivity that we allow 15-year-olds to get, where it's still fun for like the 12-year-olds. So it's not actually that competitive. And so like starting to bring adults into it, like 20-year-olds and stuff, who are really physically fit and really sweaty, like that could get a little bit of a yikes. That might lead to some unfair matchups. So I don't know. It would be a thing that we'd have to just see. We can't know how it's going to go without seeing, so we just have to see. And speaking of the people who are interested, we need more than one team. I would absolutely be on a team. I would absolutely be a sub for multiple teams. But we need more than 5 people to be interested. We need at least 10, hopefully more like 15. So we'd have like alternates for both teams and then people to record stuff. We'd also need space and time for the events. I totally think we could schedule at a park, but it would be good if we had like relations with that park like ASE does. It literally could just be a single day event, or it could be multiple days in a row where multiple one-off fights happen, just whatever felt the best to all the fighters. I think it'd be really cool if it was like every Saturday, something like that, but I don't know. If we do want castles or macro props, we need to finance those now. I talked about naval warfare, not for this, but in a separate thing. Like, it would be super cool if we had like everyone in boats type stuff, and then do an ultra tactical on the water, so we'd have floating castles and stuff. That'd be really hard to do, but it would be really cool. But it'd be also really expensive, and I'd be willing to pay out of pocket for a lot of that. But if we want any of that, we need to figure out what we want and then pay for it. Just for 2 very simple 3-wall castles like this with the border at the back limit, those aren't that hard to make. It's pretty much just like skinning like a catwalk there. It's a tower, wall, skin. Like, it's sort of difficult, but it really isn't that bad. Like, I've done it before with other castle coordinators. It could be done. It would be expensive, but it could be done. So yeah. Oh, yeah, and my proposal. So if some sort of Dominion League or Ultra Tactical ever did actually come into being, I would absolutely love to be a part of it. I have a lot of time this year. Well, pretty much, I'm just selling my soul this summer, completely devoting it to Adventures in Cardboard projects. I have 6 weeks back to back, and I plan on making videos for every single one of the days that I'm in. But I have the weekends to do other stuff and record other stuff. So if we ever did set up some ultra tactical event, I would be crazy interested. We would need like 10-15 people. I would totally be the one to put all the energy to coordinate everyone into a place and time and buy all the stuff for castles, and like figure out where we can rent the map. Everyone interested would either already need to have armor, or if they began to form teams, they would have to their individual teams would have to schedule events to build armor for their team. So I don't have to make stuff for anyone. Everyone would already come with stuff, and then once you actually got there, you'd be perfectly fully ready for the most intense game mode you've ever experienced in your entire life. So from July 10th, which is coming up here pretty soon, to August 20th, this whole period, I am very willing to spend doing pretty much whatever AIC related. And so I'm going to be pushing for this at each one of the events I talk to. I'll talk to counselors, I'll talk to kids. I'm totally willing on, because it would be a private event, probably not like legally owned by AIC. it would just be like private parties that we'd go do AIC stuff for. I would be totally interested in pretty much any age group. So up through kids who have gotten out of AIC and are just into doing it for fun, or kids who are currently in AIC, like as young, probably not younger than 10, maybe not younger than 12, but like people who understand the game mode, have been in it for a couple of years, are a little bit veteran, have made armor before, and would be willing to like sweat it out really, really, really hard in the field for a week or for a weekend. So yeah, that's sort of what I want to do, and that's kind of the time that I want to do it. I guess the thing I'm promoting, or I promoted it in the other hardtack video, but I'll just promote it here again. I did not know this, but AIC you can actually buy parties for. I think they're $3.99 for a day or something like that, but you can pay AIC and they'll come to you and they'll bring their truck full of stuff and they'll schedule a party. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So they'll like build castles or build mazes and then give your kids the chance to like make all these weapons and stuff and like come out to the event with all this stuff and like actually do everything. That would be so awesome. I wished I had always gotten the chance to do stuff like this, and I never have. I've never been to an AIC birthday party, actually, in all my years. But I just think stuff like this is really, really cool. And this kind of, like, is close to what I would love to be able to do for, like, Ultra Tag Duel, which is just bring all of the stuff one day, set stuff up that day, and then fight that afternoon. So, or afternoon or morning. Maybe you'd set it up the day before and then, like, sleep over or something just to make sure no one burned it down. But yeah, that's essentially what I want to do. I think it's super cool. You can find all this on their website. They also have an Instagram and a YouTube channel. You're on my YouTube. I have an Instagram in my description. I also have an email. So if you are interested, please email me at ichor.son.1, ICHOR.SON.1 at gmail.com. Like, I really want to get in contact with as many people as possible because I need like 15 people to be interested in this. So I'm going to be probably posting this on my Instagram and probably on Discord too, just so it's a little bit more serious and a little bit more like, yeah, no, please actually talk to me. So yeah, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching for another supplemental upload, because this isn't daily. There's another daily upload video. You should go watch that. I think it's on bows today. I actually went over in the park and shot the bow just to like have more fun with it and provide more content. But yeah, so that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in a couple minutes if you haven't watched the other one, or tomorrow for another daily upload.